Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Strategy Talks and Mechanic Talk series. In this episode, we're going over something very interesting to discuss, and it's something that was actually suggested to me in the Discord in our video suggestions chat by Rizzla. And thank you, Rizzla, for giving the suggestion. But this discussion is one that I've kind of thought about in the past, and I'm actually glad I didn't cover it sooner because I thought we had a tool for evaluating what I wanted to evaluate, but we actually don't perfectly. I can kind of get estimates for you guys, but you'll just see in a minute here. So, and I have to describe. So the whole concept is, what is like the average friendship level that results in finding a good or usable Pokemon of different specialties? Seems like a fairly simple question to be asking. How long is your hunt gonna average be? But when it comes to RNG, it gets kind of very complicated, and especially when we have the friendship level system implemented as well, it changes things and makes them even more complicated. And also, there's another matter of subskill seeds, and here's where I want to discuss the big difference and problems with some of the tools that are in Rain on X. Now, no shade to Rain on X. Rain on X is a fantastic tool. The devs for it work tirelessly. Like, this is one of the most comprehensive tools I could have ever imagined to be created for a game such as Pokemon Sleep. I just need to say that before I get to any sort of criticism on their website. But I wish there was some sort of way to better evaluate probability. And this is a very good tool, but it's got a huge oversight in my mind, and I didn't realize it was an oversight until relatively recently. I thought they had a tool for it. I thought this fully upgraded button right here was the solution, but a huge shout out to Joe Rimp, one of my viewers as well, left in some comments correcting me in a different video where I referenced this as doing what I thought it did before. I was wrong, and he corrected me over Discord and in the comments, so a huge thank you there. Not very many people dig enough into the mechanics of Randox to actually know what this button does. In fact, I didn't even know what it does, so huge thank you. But let me just show what the problem is. So, if you want to evaluate the rarity of a Pokemon, you can just do this. You can throw in... I don't know why I have two main skill seeds in this guy. You can throw in the Pokemon, and then evaluate it, and it'll spit out a rough probability, or it'll spit out a probability that you catch a Pokemon that produces that much or better, based off the subskills in nature. But there are a lot of other factors to account for, and that's primarily, well, friendship level. They have a tool in here for that, and it works great. But the other one is how many subskill seeds are you willing to invest, and that can be a very big thing for premium players, because if you're willing to make subskill seed investment, then a spread like this is relatively feasible. But it comes up as 73, like 1 in 73 roughly, on this golem. And, oh, whoops. If I compare it to this golem, which theoretically, if you didn't have any ingredient finding or help speed subskills later on locking these, then to a player who has the subskill seeds available, then this should be the same rarity as this, because you're willing to put the subskill seeds into it. Which, if I run this calculation, it actually, it will evaluate it, but it evaluates it as if you're willing to put the subskill seeds into it. But it doesn't compare it to other Pokemon. It compares it just as if it is this. As if you're not willing to put the subskill seeds investment and you just caught this, which sounds the same, but it's not. It really isn't, because theoretically it's comparing them against all of the Pokemon that are generated, including one that looks just like this one, but with a hardy nature that wasn't invested. So, it's not a perfect tool. It's helpful and can kind of give us estimates, but overall it's going to overvalue skills that are like... It's going to overvalue skills like this and undervalue skills like this, especially if you tell it that you're willing to put in subskill seeds. Then it just evaluates it like this, which isn't the full picture. And just for comparison, you can see that, like, for a person who's willing to make full subskill seed investment, like, this Ampharos performs better than this Ampharos, despite the fact that if you were to take this one and invest full subskill seeds, it's way better than this one. So, that's really kind of some of the problems that I have with the way this is evaluated, and I ran into some issues when trying to use this tool to predict probability, but I still used it to try and predict a range of how rare something might be. And I've made a lot of tabs up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tabs. Each one of these tabs has 3 Rate My Mons in it. I've run all of them, all to add into a spreadsheet. I shouldn't have been a shocker that it came to this. It's becoming a channel slogan, as someone pointed out on the last strategy talk series, that I made another spreadsheet is kind of an unofficial slogan, and I kind of love that. So, yeah, we got the spreadsheet here. Basically, I evaluated at level 60. I created what I considered to be the typical Pokemon that we would consider long-term investment for, or like the bare minimum Pokemon that we would consider long-term investment for. And you can see for this guy, I put in just Berry Fighting as helping Speed M for a Berry Specialist. Here's where I'm going to get into a little side tangent as well. For Berry Specialist, help bonus, I evaluated help bonus as null here. What that matters because it's how you evaluate helping bonus on a Pokemon. This will drastically value help bonus more on things like, well, it'll put help bonus as a high value if you have this set to null. If you have it set to 0, then it will undervalue help bonus. Well, it'll value help bonus as just a 5% boost to the mount's productivity, which there is a time and place for each setting. In my opinion, you want this to be null for Pokemon that contribute to Snorlax's total strength through raw strength production, such as Berry Specialists and Charge Strength Specialists. That's because helping bonus really does a good job at just boosting the rest of the team and increasing that overall strength. You want this to be set to 0 for things that contribute in indirect ways through, like, number of skill procs. Because, like, on an Ampharos, yes, it's producing Charge Strength M, but that's directly giving to Snorlax's strength. But you don't care so much about the total strength of, say, Dedenne, because Dedenne, it's feeding back through the meals. You want as many crits as possible, and then you swap it off the team is the ideal thing with Dedenne. So you're not looking at total strength with Dedenne, but if you leave this set to null, it'll give you way more skill procs on Dedenne, because the way that it evaluates it then is it just takes it as like a 26% boost to that Pokemon's productivity, which is a huge boost. I think it's accurate when it comes to describing Pokemon that contribute directly to Snorlax's strength, but isn't when it comes to number of skill procs or number of ingredients produced. So for ingredient specialists and for skill specialists that rely on number of procs more so than total strength, I'd say set this to 0. All other Pokemon set it to null for evaluating and Rate My Mon. Well, that little side tangent aside, that means that there's actually a breakdown. I have a further breakdown between skill proc related skill specialists and total strength related skill specialists. So I used Dedenne and Ampharos as the 2 test subjects overall. Now, and for the skill specialists, I gave them skill trigger M and help speed M. For the Ampharos, I gave skill trigger M, help speed M as well. Just consider them as our bare minimum and long-term investment. And then for Luxray, which I used as my ingredient specialist for an AAA list, I didn't run any ABC or ABB lists because that can get really complicated, and I want to evaluate off of ingredient count, which I personally think is the most important measurement for a Pokemon, or for an ingredient Pokemon. Generally speaking, just take whatever the list is, and if it's AA, then the number you'll use for rarity is what this is. If it's AB, you take this rarity and divide by 2, because the B in the second slot is twice as common, and all 3 of these at the end are 1 and 3. So for whatever list you're targeting, you would use base the rarity off the AA or the AB. And I just gave it Help Speed M and Ingredient Finding M. Now, I also did a comparison if you did those same things and dropped it down to their S tier, as if it was to say you could subskill seed this up. Now, it's not perfect, because there are things that are going to rank above this that can't be subskill seeded, and there will be other things that are below this in terms of productivity that could theoretically be subskill seeded to still be better than the Help Speed M and Ingredient Finding M. And the same with the skill triggers as well. But I evaluated each one at Friendship Level 0, Friendship Level 10, and Friendship Level 40 for Rarity, across all the different specialties, and with even further that breakdown between the two different subgenres of skill specialist. And then that's where I got this spreadsheet. Now, I also, for fun, I put in originally that berry finders would just be berry finding S and help speed M. I also, for fun, decided to just see odds of berry finding S and helping bonus, because that's a very common combo that we're looking for, because it is the most powerful combo in the game, especially for berry specialists. And that's where I got all the raw data that's down here. And I evaluated all these for level 60, because I'm thinking about long-term investments for the sake of this analysis. Theoretically, if you go beyond this point, then you could go up to level 75. It would make their rarity a little bit lower, because you could get subskills that don't unlock until level 75. But most of those things, we're not looking to wait that long before something comes online. So I think before level 60 is the fair analysis point. And it's also most important for ingredient specialists, because that's where they get their third ingredient unlock. So that plays a huge role into the rarity that they have. So if I was to evaluate any lower than that, they would be way rarer, and a lot of long-term players aren't looking to make long-term investments unless they have the right C ingredient that they're looking for. Anyway, overall analysis. So with no seeds, a berry specialist, as you can see, as you go up in friendship level from 0 to 9, 10 to 39, and 4 to 99. I didn't do 100 plus because I just didn't want to run the calculations. It progressively gets more or less and less likely to, or more and more likely actually. This is the denominator. That's what the number is here. 1 over whatever number is here. So this number is roughly, if your friendship level was fixed, how many Pokemon of that specialty would you have to catch on average before you caught a usable one? Now, keep in mind, when it comes to probability, each instance is its own independent instance. You can't think of it as, oh, if I catch 17 berry specialists from that are after friendship level 40, I'm going to get a good berry specialist. That is not a guarantee. Basically, after you've caught 17 berry specialists, if you don't have that good one already, even if it is after 40, there has been no progress made. You effectively have to catch 17 more after that point, and every time you fail, you can expect about 17 more after that point before catching the perfect one. And then when you finally catch the good one that you want to invest in, good for you. You no longer have to catch any more. Then it's down to 0. It drops from 17 expected down to 0. Each one is 0 progress made unless it is the one. So that is something that you have to consider when it comes to this. This is averages. When you're planning out a hunt, roughly how many will you have to catch? Additionally, your hunt could end early. I know in my case, I have a lot of... My Raichu hunt has been insanely lucky. Everybody's going to have those stories and those situations. But anyway, what are the odds of things? Now, 1 in 115 before friendship level 10. Most likely, you are not going to catch a good long-term investment berry finder before friendship level 10. And then it drops down to 1 in 49 between 10 and 39 for a berry finding S help speed M Pokemon. And 1 in 17 after that point. Now, if you're willing to make subskill seed investment, then obviously the odds get significantly better. 1 in 54, 1 in 22, and 1 in 11. But remember, this is like a low-ball-ish estimate of, or a high-ball estimate of their odds. So this is a nice range, is what I'd say. the range of what you can expect if you're willing to make full sub-skill seed investment. If you're not willing to make sub-skill seed investment, this is your odds. Additionally, we have one for the skill procs and the skill strength Pokemon. As you can see, the skill procs go up tremendously in rarity the more friendship level you get. All the way up to, if it hits friendship level 40, dear gosh, good luck. Because it's looking at 165. For those of you that have friendship level 40 plus Eevee, I am so sorry for you. Because pretty much, you're probably not going to be catching a good one. You can, but the odds are pretty slim that it'll be good before level 75 is out. But with seeds, it does get significantly better. Actually, way, way better. All the way down to only 1 in roughly 8. You know, that number seems wrong. I'm going to double check that real quick. Hold up a minute. I want to... With seeds. Friendship level 40. That's here. Yeah, 1 in 8 is what it's showing. I want to make sure the... Okay, yeah, that is set right. Okay, so yeah, 1 in 8. You got to see some live double checking, and you can see how I got that number. And that's probably just because Help Speed S and Main Skill Chance S are pretty common things, and you can see that down here as well. If I was to say which one of these types of Pokemon you should not invest your Subskill Seeds into, that's one very interesting thing about this. You can make the estimates of which Pokemon should you put your Subskill Seeds into if your Subskill Seeds are limited for you. Because realistically, you should be putting them into the ones that the Subskill Seeds make the biggest difference in their impact, or in the Pokemon's rarity. Cool if you're willing to put Subskill Seeds into your Berry Specialist. It changes your hunt from roughly 1 in 11 to 1 in 17. Now, if you catch a good Berry Specialist that has Berry Fighting S, Help Speed S, like a Speed of Up Nature, and then like the next skills, there's no Help Speed M later on in the sub-skills, you know what? That's worth the investment. That's not the only deciding factor. Your account is going to play a bigger role in what things you Subskill Seed than the overall general rarity of Pokemon. But the priorities should ideally be in the species that gain the most from rarity and Subskill Seeds, and that is the Pokemon that are of higher friendship level, that are of ingredient specialties, as you can see here. An AAX list by far has the biggest jump in... it's got the biggest rarity overall. At level 60 plus, at 40 plus friendship level, it's roughly a 1 in 248 odds you catch a usable one. If you evaluate that usability as Ingredient Fighting M and Help Speed M alone, neutral nature, nothing else, and the right ingredient list. That's largely, in fact, due to the fact that you have an added layer of RNG, past subskills, and nature in the ingredient list that matters as well. These other Pokemon don't have to be fighting with that, so they are less rare comparatively. But with seeds, you bring it down to 1 in 87. That's like tripling how often you can encounter a good one. If this evaluation turns out to be accurate, which, like I said, there are problems with it. But, and then for AB, I mean, it's just the same numbers but cut in half. But it's still, I mean, a big difference between skill procs, specialists as well. I'd say these are probably the next biggest priority for your seeds. But, yeah. Now, as for the Berry Fighting S Help Bonus Fun, I also ran that through here. It's 1 in 935 from 0 to 9. 1 in 195 from 10 to 39, and 1 in 60.65 from 40 to 99 in friendship level. So that is kind of insane to realize just how rare that combo really is. And it makes me feel tremendously lucky that I think I have 3 Berry Specialists with this combo. Granted, one of them has Speed of Health down, but that's a different... that's a whole different thing. Okay. Then, for this last little table over here, I'm sure you're wondering what this means. This first column is the odds that within the first 9 catches, before your friendship level hits friendship level 10, what is the odds that you catch one that is usable? And as you can see, it is tremendously the highest for the skill specialists, Skill specialists are easiest to catch within the first couple catches, and you're actually pretty likely to catch a decent one within those first catches, just because of the way that the probability works. And it only kind of gets, it doesn't, honestly, it doesn't really get that bad for them. But then this is from 10 catches number 10 to 39. This is from number 40 to 49. And then this is the cumulative odds that under friendship level 100 you will catch one usable Pokemon. And that is, by the way, I define usable for long-term investment. And my goodness, if I can make a point about why I feel the mono ingredient meta is not the best for everybody, it really comes down to this. Based off what I've seen, the odds here of catching a usable ingredient specialist, even if you're willing to put full subskill seed investment into it, looks to be about only an 84%, even if you catch 100 Pokemon. Now, there might be an error in my calculation there, because that doesn't feel accurate, because I've caught plenty of good ones, and I haven't even caught 40 of any species yet. So these numbers do feel kind of wrong to me. I don't know where my math went wrong, because that doesn't feel quite right, but I think it's just over-reliance on the calculator that I know has flaws in its probability calculations for what I'm trying to get it to do. And then if you're not willing to make those subskill seed investments, a 42% chance in all that time. But you can see that the biggest odds of getting it is easily before friendship level 10. Every time it goes up, the odds get worse and worse. It gets more, but that's just because you're catching more Pokemon. But the odds do get worse, as you can see over here. But yeah, it's very, very difficult to catch good Pokemon. As you can see, Skill Specialist and Berry Specialist, you're pretty much bound to catch good ones if you hunt long enough. Ingredient Specialist, not necessarily the case, even for A, B, X options. Just because they are a bit more difficult to catch with that added layer of RNG. And the Berry Finding Out bonus combo, of course, is pretty rare as well. I didn't run it with seed investment because there's no way to actually make that comparison since the tools aren't out yet, and you can't subskill seed to get those two skills. So, but yeah, that really puts Rarity in perspective of just how much more rare ingredient specialists are than berry specialists. And on average, it depends on the friendship level. But it's going to take a lot for those mono builds. Anyway, if you have enjoyed the video and discussion on Rarity, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I really enjoyed talking about this one, and do keep in mind that this is going to change very heavily from ingredient specialist to ingredient specialist and from account to account. What your account needs might not necessarily be this ingredient finding M and help speed M specialist. You may need something that produces less than that to meet your needs, and that's always a factor to consider. On that, what a Pokemon species needs to meet your needs is going to vary from species to species, as different species do better naturally at producing than other ones. So there are other factors to consider, but this is just to give a picture of the Rarity. And I've enjoyed talking about it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, if you have, leave a like, subscribe. It does help out the channel. Join the Discord if you're interested. It's always in the description. And as always, I thank you guys for watching and hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.